What's going on, everyone? It's Rifle here, and thanks for checking out this Fallout 76 nuking experiment. Previously, we tried nuking the really random, awesome traveling vendor, Grahm.
Smarty say once, murder is just okay. Trades? So good. Things break if you just take. Think about it.
It was an interesting experiment to see whether or not we was able to get some of the stuff that he sold by looting his body, and well, it turns out that's not the case. He is completely invincible. I thought in the previous episode that we did take him out because there was a green glowing ash pile there. Well, it turns out that was my buddy who was trading with him to keep him stationary so the nuke could hit directly on top of him. In case you don't know, if you're not trading with this guy, he is constantly moving and also teleporting. So it was a bit confusing because my buddy who was trading with him did record himself and what happened, and you can just see Grahm disappear in the background of the trading screen. So we thought he disintegrated into that green glowing ash pile. However, when we found him again, we decided to test this out again to see whether or not we were able to take him out. And it turns out we wasn't. If a player is nuked, that player will have a green glowing ash pile wherever they got nuked at, as you can see here. Paper bag right on top of this ash pile. So yes, this is exactly where I got taken out at from the nuke. Not to mention, Grahm survived. As you can see, here he is, still alive and kicking at the area that we decided to nuke him at. Although it might have been a complete fail, at least it brings Grahm more on the map so more players are aware that he is in the game. He is a very rare vendor to get in touch with, let's just say that much. But he sells some very valuable loot, especially for your camp. Anyways, in this one, we are going to be seeing what happens when we nuke Morgantown, which is the home of Vault-Tec University, so we'll be nuking that along with some other locations as well. The reason why I chose this location is because it is absolutely infested with feral ghouls everywhere around in this town. Like, even on the rooftops of this place, there is just so many around. I mean, it does make sense why there is so many around. It's because, once again, this is the home of Vault-Tec University. So there was a lot of college students that lived around here so they could go to school. But that's the reason why I thought it would be an amazing location to nuke. So I'm going to be hitting this location a few times to see if this area is really worth the time or not to launch a nuke at. I'll also be going over the holotapes that explain the backstory of this place too, after I test what happens when we nuke here. The backstory is really interesting, and I figured most players would miss out on these holotapes, and it sucks because the developers actually took the time adding these into the game for us to understand each area more. It makes me genuinely just want to help out because the voice acting isn't bad at all. You'll hear, it actually sounds genuine. So I decided to bring the holotape audio logs that you can collect from Morgantown to life by turning them into a cinematic so more people will get engaged of the lore over this area. That's my goal anyways out of this. I hope you guys decide to stick around and tell me what you think of it. I may start doing these cinematics more to explain the lore better if you do enjoy this style. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into nuking Morgantown, the home of Vault-Tec University already. So is this place worth it to nuke? Yes, absolutely in my opinion. But you be the judge for yourself. Look at all these glowing ones right now in this area. Look how much experience I am getting at the moment. You get more experience from this area than you do White Springs, let alone any other location that we have tested so far. Monongah was mainly for legendary loot. There was quite a bit of legendary glowing ones at that location. And not to mention there's quite a bit of legendaries at White Springs, so you will have a better chance at getting legendary gear from those locations. However, here seems to be where you'll get the most amount of XP so far that we have found to nuke. There is literally endless of glowing ones, and not to mention I have this pretty solid experience farm run that you can do here to gain you quite a bit of levels fast. All you have to do is just simply, first off, make sure you don't nuke Morgan Airport, just because there's only scorched enemies over in that general location. Trust me, I have nuked this area quite a bit of times to learn where scorch spawn and where glowing ones will spawn at, and that is one area that you do not want to touch with the nuke, just because they aren't going to mutate into glowing ones, and I feel like glowing ones are the best to be taken out in the nuke because they are the easiest to see, and not to mention they won't shoot at you, which makes them way easier to handle in a nuke zone. But yeah, just keep in mind not to nuke the airport just because it's kind of pointless. And also don't forget there is a vendor over inside the airport too that you can buy or maybe sell things from your nuke experience over in Morgantown. So yeah, with that in mind, from my experience on how to get the most bang for your buck when you do take the time to nuke over at Morgantown, you want to try to be avoiding Morgantown Airport, once again, Morgantown Station, because that's just really a pointless area to hit. There's no enemies whatsoever over in that general vicinity, and most importantly, you want to be avoiding Morgantown Train Yard, because, well, they're scorched at this area, and not that many, to say the least, and this is the area that we're going to be spawning at in order to do the efficient experience farm run through the town. But before I get into that, I also tried nuking down at Bolton Greens, and let's just say that was a negatory, not worth it to hit whatsoever. There is just a few scorched there. It seems the best area to be hitting when you do take the time to officially launch a nuke over in this area is Vault-Tec University. That will dodge all of the areas that I mentioned to avoid, and not to mention you'll hit a little bit of the streets down here. And down in this unmarked area, there will be glowing ones around in this vicinity. So be sure to be checking down here too, not just up in Morgantown. Actually travel the streets down too if you want to get all of the glowing ones around. And there is a lot around in this area. So anyways, let's get back to this experience farm route that I discovered when you do nuke this location. You just simply want to be starting at Morgantown Train Yard, which once again, this is going to be one of those areas that you aren't going to be hitting with a nuke. And from here, you're just going to want to simply go across the bridge and enter into Morgantown and just run straight through the town. Now what I'm doing here is just gathering up all the glowing ones and taking them to a location to show you the overall experience that you will get from doing this farm route. Now of course you can just take them out on site, you don't have to get them to follow you. This is just a way that I'm showing you guys how much experience you do get from this. And also be sure to be checking buildings, specifically during this route. You'll find some underneath this bar here. Quite a few actually. And from here, once you take care of the ones underneath the bar, you're just going to want to continue going straight for a little past this bar. And this is where we'll be taking our first turn at. We're going to be busting a right at this area, and then this will lead us to this area where there is a bunch of tents at, as well as more glowing ones to encounter. Once you're up here though, and you take care of the glowing ones up in this vicinity, you can go up this street from the location where there's a bunch of tents at. It's literally right behind Vault-Tec University. Anyways, up this street you will find a ton of other glowing ones as well. And keep in mind, I didn't gather up the whole town here. I gathered up maybe like a quarter of the town, and I got a ton of experience. Once again, more than White Springs. Although the downfall is you won't find as many legendaries in this area, sadly. But if you are looking for level ups, this is definitely an area to check out, for sure. So yeah, you get loads of experience, but not only that, there are some pretty rewarding events around in this area that will spawn too, such as Feed the People event at Mama Dulce's, and yes, glowing ones will appear here when you do start up the event, so that's even more experience. And Back on the Beat will also be in this area where you nuked at too. All you have to do to start this is go up to this terminal inside this building and choose the option to activate the Steelheart bot. And this event is extremely important because it's a way to get the really rare outfit Forest Camo jumpsuit, as you can see here. This is a completely random reward that you can get specifically from Back on the Beats event, which you'll just have to patrol with this responder bots around the town. And keep in mind, this will also spawn even more glowing ones. So definitely make sure you're doing these events too, especially when the nuke is here, because it'll gain you even more experience. Alrighty, now since all of that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get into some of the lore over in Morgantown. Starting with this area right here. Right outside of the student campground place where a bunch of tents was set up at, you can find these porta potties on the other side of the wall. And inside one of these porta potties, you can find a holotape titled The Battle of Morgantown. Let's go ahead and play it.
We lost another group of freshmen today. I ordered them to start scaling the escape ladders at nightfall, but it was a trap. The whole thing was covered in oil, and the roof asses lit them all on fire. And I can't keep doing this. trying to starve them out since we control the roads into and out of town, but somehow they keep finding food, man. They've even started to throw their empty food boxes down on us as mockery. How are they surviving up there? Where are they getting their supplies?
Alright, so from this holotape, the next lore piece that you can find is inside the student camp area, located on top of these boxes right here. As you can see, there's a torn note that you can read called "Tear It All Down," and it says, "Students of the streets, those elites who stared down on us from their brick and mortar thrones will finally die this day." So it seems like a war was starting to break out here after the bomb dropped. People started becoming scarce on supplies. Anyways, from this torn letter that talks about the people up on the rooftops, you can find one of their bases that they have made. If you go up the street here and take a right and climb this fire escape, which, forewarning, there's quite a bit of traps going up this fire escape. You can destroy the traps by hitting them, so you don't have to really get hurt going across them. So yeah, just keep that in mind. There is going to be a couple traps going up this, and also not to mention this bad boy right here is set up right before the entrance, which is just a skilled one locked door. Once you gain access, you simply want to go on top of this and you'll find another holotape titled "Dumb Street Kids." Let's go ahead and play this and see what it says.
The kids down there are so incredibly oblivious to the fact that windows exist. We've sent scouting parties in the dead of night through different adjacent buildings. They keep returning with more food, more ammo. It's nuts. We're gonna outlast this siege for years. The big problem, though, is Radaway. We're finding less and less of it every day, and people are starting to get sick. I'm still certain that we'll be the victors after all is said and done. The rooftops and the monorail are our own personal highway, after all. Those dumb street kids have no idea who they're messing with.
So anyways, from this holotape, we're going to be making our way over there. I'll go ahead and get out the binoculars. As you can see, we're going to be going up that building there. So yeah, let's go ahead and make our way up on top of the monorail. Okay, so I am officially over here. And check out these stairs that they have guarding their base. Let me go ahead and unlock this real quick. Okay. Yeah, the stairs of death leads up to this rooftop here. So definitely don't take the stairs. If you got to, destroy all of those. Do what you gotta do to get up here. But anyways, if you do eventually come up here, you might find an enemy or two. But most importantly, you can find this lore piece right by the sleeping bag called "Trouble with Radiation." And it reads, "So the radiation issue is getting pretty bad. 10 of our guys just didn't wake up this morning. And some other people are starting to lose their hair. I was brushing something off my cheek in the middle of the night. Thought it was just a fly, but..." And the rest of the page is torn. But on the other side it says, "I hate to admit it, but I'm going to send a message to the street rats and see if we can call for peace. They don't look like they're in good shape either, and this little war game has gone on long enough." So it seems they might have started to band together at the end before, you know, eventually everybody was wiped out. So from here, the next lore piece will be located right over on that building. So let's go ahead and go back to the monorail and make our way over there. So this will be the first of 4 history volume holotapes that you can discover around in Morgantown. So, as I mentioned before, the next lore piece will be on this building here. As you can see, History of Morgantown, Volume 1.
This is Alicia Parker speaking, valedictorian of the last graduating class of Vault-Tec University. I believe it is my duty to record the events of Morgantown's final days for future generations. With any luck, someday a dweller from 76 will find this and know what happened here. After the bombs, Morgantown was a hellhole. Everything was on fire or dead. Don't remember much, to be honest. A few of us hid inside the university, but rations forced us out after a few weeks. When we emerged, we found ourselves in the perfect real-world scenario for exercising all the training we acquired at VTU. Yeah, lucky us.
Okay, so the next History of Morgantown volume will be located over here, next to this wooden tower on the monorail. You just want to jump over toward this house, And on top of this house, you want to make your way over to the top of this building, and it'll be located right here on this table. And actually, you can see where we previously was. You jump over here. That's the building that we were previously on. So not too far from that area. But yeah, let's go ahead and play this one now.
Some of the kids with overseer training took the lead, and a few of the Greek houses started communities. I don't even remember what they were called. The largest of them, Kappa something, started absorbing the smaller houses and slowly expanding their territory. If the world wasn't over, I might have found it interesting how feudalism was reimagined against the backdrop of nuclear war. We lost a lot of students in the first year. Some to radiation poisoning. Others to typical things like hunger and thirst. One kid was attacked by a large rat in the VTU courtyard, but we never found it. But we mostly lost kids to the house wars.
So from that one, we learned how the people died here at Morgantown. Anyways, as for the next one, it'll be located at the wooden tower here on the monorail. So let's go ahead and make our way over there. And volume 3 will be at the bottom of this wooden tower. As you can see, right here. Let's go ahead and see what this one says.
The Radaway shortages were terrifying. Some guys were fighting over a cache they found in a nearby pharmacy. Things got heated. They drew their guns and fired. The first student death by a fellow peer was recorded. This was the new Morgantown. The two biggest houses are the roof house and the street house, named after the territories they control. A great student war unfolded, but this wasn't the cute kind of hazing ritual known by VTU students. This was life or death.
Okay, so for the fourth history holotape, will be located on top of the roof across from the bank building. So just find a way to get on top of the monorail, and then when you get over in this general area, you just want to go across this little bridge right here, and this will be the roof with the fourth history volume, as you can see. Let's go ahead and see what this says.
Without Radaway, the effects of intense radiation were already taking their toll. Kids were falling over dead. Their hair and skin were falling off. Only the most powerful student houses were able to keep order among their ranks. This was only possible by eradicating smaller groups of student survivors and stealing their supplies. Every dose of Radaway kept the powerful elite at the top of the food chain. Even now I'm in hiding on a roof somewhere far away from most of the other kids. There's one guy on the roof next over that I sometimes talk to, but we usually keep to ourselves to not attract attention. I think his name is Victor.
So from that, we gained a little bit more knowledge about what took place here. It sounded pretty devastating. And we also learned that a guy named Victor was on a rooftop next to her. And you can find her hideouts by going over here to this fire escape. If you don't have marsupial, that is. If you have marsupial, you can just jump right up to the rooftop. But anyways, from this fire escape, you can jump to the top of this balcony and make your way over to her little hideout. And I have to say, it's pretty sweet. She got some crops growing, she got a tinker bench, she has some Christmas lights set up, she has a little computer on her bed. I mean, she had it going on. But anyways, you can find a holotape on top of this bed here called History of Morgantown, Author's Notes. And when you pick this up, if you go to your holotape selection and go to play it, you will notice you'll have some options here to choose from. Anyways, let's go ahead and see what the epilogue option says. I've accepted my fate and the fates of Morgantown. It's too bad that I'll never get to meet you, but at least you have the story of this horrible place, and now the story of me. Good luck, and try not to repeat history. You have a chance to start anew. Please don't be like us. So yeah, that's that. Let's go ahead and see what Author's Note says. It states to delete later. I miss my mom and dad. I have no idea if they've survived, but I heard rumors that Charleston was hit by something terrible. So I've pretty much given up hope. I can't leave Morgantown to go find them, and I'll probably die on this rooftop. But hey, at least I'm alive. Victor suggested we meet up, but I don't really trust him that much. And there's nothing that's going to make me leave this roof. Not because I'm afraid of the student gangs patrolling the streets, but I've started to notice that my hair is falling out. I've been dosing out the little RadAway I have in small increments, just enough to make the pain go away, but not too much. Had to make it last as much as I could, but it's not working anymore. So that's the motivation for recording the 4 volumes of Morgantown's history. It's not enough, but I'm losing strength every day. It's the most I could do. Anyways, for the last option, it's titled Brainstorming. And on this one it says, 1. Detailed analysis of post-war Morgantown. Update. Not enough time, getting too sick. 2. History recordings of Morgantown survivor accounts. Update. Not happening. People are way too aggressively violent. 3. Meet up with telescope guy? Big no. 4. Short recordings. Big picture, high level. The history of Morgantown? We'll need a shorter name. Too grandiose. So yeah, that's that. And also, you can find a home picture frame up here. Home is my heart, it says on it. Pretty sad. Also a postcard from Mom and Dad, because as you know, she was thinking about them quite a bit. She kept a hold of this just for, memory's sake. It says, "Dear Alicia, been thinking a lot about you. We are so proud. Good luck with your first semester at Vault-Tec University. You were always a smart cookie. Love, Mom and Dad." So this was Alicia Parker's headquarters. But as for the guy Victor across the street, it seems like he was some sort of astronomer. You can find a holotape about him right over here on this desk.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. I can't leave this roof or I'll die. Alicia, stop talking to me. I have nothing to do but obsess over my work. How is that even remotely sane? I'm cataloging constellations and the world has ended. I've officially lost it. Yeah, I know I have. Because lately I've been resisting the temptation to go down to street level. There's roving bands of murderous kids. People who I used to help cheat on their exams. Can you believe it? I got them an A-. And now they want to beat me to death with a wrench for a bag of chips. I wish I wasn't on this nightmare planet. I wish I was somewhere else. Somewhere out there. In the stars.
And you can also find a postcard from Vault-Tec University on this table here, as you can see. It reads, "Congratulations, Victor Hibb. You're the official winner of the annual Vault-Tec University Student Leadership Awards. To receive your commemorated plaque, please visit our office in the main campus building. Thank you. Office of Student Affairs, Vault-Tec University." So it seems like this guy had some serious brain power. But I can kind of understand why Alicia Parker started to avoid him at the end. I'm thinking maybe it's because she was falling ill and she didn't really care about anything anymore, as we learned from the author notes over at her headquarters. And also she had a bit of trust issues going on because a lot of people was going crazy. It kind of did seem in a way that Victor had some sort of thing for her because he did mention that she stopped talking to him. But yeah. That's about wrapping up this video, everybody. Hopefully you found this enjoyable and it was interesting. If you did find this enjoyable, consider leaving a like. That's always greatly appreciated. But hey, as always, that's totally up to you. I'm out of here, though. Thanks for taking the time to watch and listen. Until next time, peace.